Hey, what's up? This is David King from davidbking.com. Today I'm going to talk about how to be decisive. Now this is something that I struggle with for a long time, and I'm still kind of working out little kinks in order to be more decisive in my own life. But this is kind of a personal development lesson that can both enhance your personal life and your professional life, and if you're an entrepreneur, help your business to grow and be much more successful. So for me personally, I struggled with indecisiveness for several years actually. I was very indecisive about whether I should work on this project, or I should create this video or that article, or write this book, or I was very flimsy with the projects I was creating, with the content I was creating, and I was just very indecisive, and that indecisiveness caused me to move slower, so I was only creating half or a third of what I really could have been producing. If I would have been decisive in my decision making, would have flowed, so I could have created a lot more content, information, and success double or triple as fast if I would have been decisive. So decisiveness is obviously very important, because the more decisive you are, the faster you can make decisions, the faster you can launch the product, launch your service, the faster things happen for you in your life, whatever it may be. So decisiveness is extremely important to being successful in your personal business, or in your personal life, or whatever it may be. And if you're an indecisive person and you're watching this video, you already know that being indecisive is something that you struggle with, and it's something that causes you to take longer to succeed. It causes more stress, more anxiety, and it just causes more overall issues in life, because when you're indecisive, your word doesn't count as much. Whatever you're working on, you can project that it'll be completed at so-and-so point, but because you're indecisive, it takes longer, or you get distracted and you're not 100% committed to something. That's kind of a form of indecisiveness. You haven't decided to commit to something, so you're kind of working on multiple things at once. So decisiveness plays a huge impact, and it plays a huge role in many different areas of our life. So today I want to talk about fight or flight, and how you can use that to kind of gauge your decisiveness, and then also how to kind of take it up a notch. And I'll share with you my experience and how I used fight or flight, if you will, to be more decisive and to understand where I was indecisive so that I could break through those barriers. So we've all heard fight or flight before, right? It's if you're an enemy, or you're let's say we're in the wild in African safari, and I'm a gazelle and you're a lion, and there's fight or flight. I see you, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta run. It's fight or flight. I'm gonna stay here and fight you, or I'm gonna run for my life. And obviously most cases there, the gazelle's gonna run for its life. But the interesting thing that no one really talks about, and everyone kind of understands fight or flight, is the freeze stage, okay? So we've all been involved in fight or flight. We've all fought something and fought for it and been really resilient and persistent, or we've we've left and just ran, if you will. We went the opposite direction. So we all fought for things, and we all went the opposite direction for things. So basically in terms of entrepreneurship and business, it's either quitting and giving up, or going 100% full out. So that's the kind of polarities of the decisiveness. It's going full out 100%, or it's quitting and saying this isn't for me. So those are two decisions to be made. But in the very center there, you have fight or flight. In the very center, you have freeze, right? Now, if you've seen any of wildlife TV, or everyone's seen a gazelle that sees a lion, and it doesn't run, and it doesn't fight. We've all seen videos on YouTube, an animal fighting its prey or running from its prey. But there is a point in time when the prey freezes dead in its tracks. If you live in America, maybe another example would be if you're driving down a road late at night and it's dark, especially in the Midwest or the East Coast or wherever in the North, or really anywhere, and you see a deer, and the deer just freezes in its tracks, and you're like, I'm going to hit this deer, because the deer, it doesn't run, it doesn't stop and try to fight your car and use its 200 pounds or whatever a deer weighs against your 4,000 pound car. It just freezes. And why does a deer freeze? Why does a gazelle freeze when it sees its prey? Personally, I think freezing is a form of indecisiveness. When you freeze, when you stop, and you don't have an instant reaction to fight, flight, whatever it may be, that's when your indecisiveness kind of kicks in. So, for example, if you are working on a project and whatever it may be, and you hit a barrier, and this is a mental barrier, obviously. You hit a barrier, and you don't know whether you should progress and continue with this project or this business, or you don't know if you should continue, or you don't know if you should do something else, or whatever it may be. And when you stop and you freeze and you don't have a decision and you don't feel anything and you feel almost like numb to it, you don't know whether you should move forward, you don't know whether you should go back in the other direction, go to another project, that feeling of numb indecisiveness, of freezing in the moment, is a form of indecisiveness, obviously, but it's also a form of a fear of something. It's a form of fear. So in that case, it could be a fear of failure, it could be a fear of success, it could be a fear of the unknown, because a lot of times indecisiveness and freezing dead in your tracks is a fear of the unknown, and you're just afraid of the unknown because you don't know what it is. So your ego gets involved, and you think, I need to know everything. You have all this ego involved, and you think you need to know everything, and then before you know it, you're afraid of the unknown, so you freeze, and you don't fight or flight, which is what you need to do. You need to fight something for something. If you believe in something, you need to fight for it, and really be resilient and persistent, or you need to flight, and you need to go in the opposite direction and pursue something else that is worth fighting for. So, if you're not fighting or flighting, you're freezing. And if you're freezing, it's indecisive. And if you have that indecisiveness, there's like I said, feeling of numbness that you are afraid of something. You're afraid of failure, success, or afraid of the unknown. So my recommendation is to address fear at its very root, at its root core. And if you're afraid of failure or success or the unknown, whatever it may be, you have to kind of determine what that is and decide to basically ignore your fear. It's basically just feel the fear and do it anyway. So you have to feel the fear of whether you're afraid of failure, success, or the unknown. Feel that fear and either fight for it and move forward, or if it's not something you're passionate about and you're energetically, emotionally, positively, passionately engaged in, you need to flight and go in the opposite direction to find something that is worth fighting for, that you can really invest your mind, body, and spirit into, because when you invest your full being in something, it's much more impactful, it has much more chance of succeeding, and even if it does fail, you've succeeded in some way because you'll learn something through that experience. So, how do you stop being indecisive? Address the feeling of numbness, that frozen feeling whenever you're indecisive and you feel frozen and stuck. Listen to your spirit, listen to your heart, and feel it. Literally feel it. You have to feel something. If you feel numb to something, that is just a fear that is, in a sense, suppressing your intuition and your internal guidance system to either fight for something and keep pursuing it, or to retreat in the other direction and pursue something that is more beneficial for you and your well-being. So stop being indecisive. Either fight for something or flight, and just get rid of that numbness. Find something. When you start to feel things, when you really feel something and you get emotionally engaged with something, that's the direction you need to go in, and that's the decision you need to make. So take time to stop and be quiet, and stop logically analyzing something and logically engaging in something, and turn your mind off and just listen and be quiet for a minute. Because when you listen and you stop trying to logically analyze something, you're like a deer in the headlights. You're frozen. It's like locking up your brakes in the way. It's just going to make you more indecisive and more indecisive, because you're focusing on the problem of being frozen, being caught in the headlights, and then you're more and more indecisive. So to get out of that zone, turn your mind off, meditate, do something that's positive for your being, and stop using your mind. Literally stop using your brain, and just be silent and listen, and just feel it. Once you feel it, you'll know. And then, like I said, if you don't feel something, if you feel numb and you don't feel that kind of decisiveness, you need to just stop and turn your brain off, literally, and that fight for something or flight for something will come to you. So I hope this video has been helpful to you in your life and your business. This is David King from davidbking.com. Click the subscribe button above, like button below, favorite, comment, share, leave your thoughts below, and last but not least, subscribe at my Facebook and the link below for future videos and updates. Thanks a lot for your time. You can check out my website at davidbking.com to learn more about me and what I do. Have an awesome day. Bye.